All right, troops, welcome to the Action Leap. My name is Owen. So I'm particularly excited about this show tonight because I've always find the conversations are fun whenever we do the live streams, but most of us, we always agree whenever we're talking about movies. But this one, I think, is going to be a little bit divisive tonight, and I'm looking forward to that. And, hopefully we'll be throwing down and having fights and throwing things at the screen and stuff like that. It's going to be awesome. So before we continue, I'm just going to bring in the squad. So first of all, I'm just going to bring in Charlie. How are you?
What's happening?
I like your shirt, by the way.
I know the
Now I
wife
have
made
a
me
machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
wife made me that last year, man. So I'm rocking it. This is kind of our Christmas episode, right? So
Uh, yeah, I
Kinda.
suppose. I mean, next week we're doing the last Boy Scout, which is a Christmas movie, and then we're
that's
doing
kind of Christmas.
the Year in Action the next week. So we'll be talking about.
I'll wear the hat one of those streams.
So will I.
So,
Oh, I'll probably wear them for both. Next up, anyway, we're going to bring in J-Man. All right.
There it is.
So tonight we're going to be talking about Silent Night, John Woo's latest, and it's been a long-awaited return of the maestro to Hollywood. And I've seen like all kinds of different reviews from it. Some people love it, some people don't. Some people are like, it's fine. It's funny. Like I'll just say my piece, and then I'll let you guys continue. But I really enjoyed it. I was saying to Jay. I said, actually, my favorite movie of this year is Godzilla -1, like by far. Like, there's just nothing that comes close. Yeah. Masterpiece. And Silent Night is up there, but it's not my favorite of the year. I think great opening scene. Then it really like slows down. But like we discussed before, that's what John Woo movies do. They're like slow for a little while, and then you get just the crazy action in the second half. And the action is fantastic. I mean, some have said that they were surprised with that the action is a bit sort of grittier than what they would expect from a John Woo movie. It's not got that balletic, all the overdone slow motion and the pigeons and the dogs.
Yeah.
No. But I was like, yeah, but that was like the 80s and 90s or whatever. And, he's gone more for the John Wick kind of vibe I felt here with this. And I thought that it's still recognizably John Woo. You still have some slow motion. You have the close up of the eyes, a couple of scenes, and then you have some double gunplay and things like that. The whole concept of can a movie work without dialogue, and I was like, well, it did for several years during the beginning of movies, silent movie era. There's plenty of movies there, and they were silent and they were great. So I love that it actually challenges viewers to actually have to pay attention, and you have to look at facial expressions or reading things like that. Like the only dialogue that's in this movie is a radio broadcast, which is it, and pretty much everything else is just all facial expressions and things like that. And I love that. I thought it was a great piece of storytelling. It's like old school storytelling where it's like see don't tell, and it's a perfect example of that. And I think that a lot of filmmakers could take note of that as well, because the film's only like an hour and 45 minutes or something as well. So it's not 2.5, 3 hours like everything else these days. So, yeah, I mean, I can understand why it will be an acquired taste. Like some will love it, like me. I loved it, and I can understand why others won't, because I think maybe the lack of dialogue may put a lot of people off. That you're just waiting for him to say something at some point, but never bothered me because I knew what it was going in. So I was like, no, nobody's going to talk, so that's fine. I'll just let the action talk, and the action, boy, did it talk, because the action was great, super violent. Love the stairwell fight. Although some have said that it's another stairwell fight, kind of like Daredevil and whatever else. That we've kind of seen that before, and I was like, yeah, I suppose, but I know this was with guns. And it was John Woo, so
yeah.
So sorry. So, J-Man, I'm going to ask you last.
Yes,
because I know where this is going.
I wonder who's who, because you're like, oh, it's going to be divisive. Gee, anytime it's divisive, who is it going to be?
I can't imagine who it's going to be. Let's talk about Doctor Who first.
No.
I have like 300 comments.
Yeah, I've been reading them all.
On like two Doctor Who's, and there's 2,600. No, there's 4,600 views if you combine the two specials, and there's over 300 and something comments, and people are not happy.
Like, yeah, sure, go ahead. Yeah. Well, I just got my advertising revenue.
You know what the trick is to respond to every comment in a very funny or way that almost makes you dismissive of the comment, but also like you didn't even read it, which I didn't.
Right.
And then they get angry, and then they write along. YouTube doesn't know if it's positive or negative. They just know
all content's good, man.
So anyway, so Charlie, what did you think of Silent Night? I haven't spoken to you yet, but
so I'll start out by saying I am extremely thankful that Owen, you decided to tell us in the group chat we have that there was no dialogue. I know some people were trying to keep it quiet. Like I knew he wasn't going to talk. I kind of got that. But when you said no dialogue in this movie whatsoever, I kind of adjusted my expectations. I love this movie. I thought it was phenomenal. This is not your normal action movie, and I'm actually going to bitch about something to start it. The studio should have never put out the type of trailer they put out for this movie, to where it felt like a Die Hard clone. They're playing the Die Hard Christmas music. They're showing almost every action scene at the end of the movie in the trailer, and it made it feel like this fast pace, over the top, bam, 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 done. And once I got it through my head that this was not John Wick, this is not Nobody, this is not Bullet Train, because I'm sitting there for a little bit going, this action feels weird. This action feels really weird. What does this feel weird? And then I was like, because this dude isn't trained. He's built himself up for 6 months. He's not military. He's not martial arts. He's not anything.
Yeah,
he's
just a human.
Everything. And so it's gonna be dirty and not very choreographed looking. It's gonna feel like, oh man, he almost messed up there. He almost got shot. He almost got his ass kicked. And once I got through that, once I started really just kind of taking it in, I was like, this is phenomenal. Like John Woo is doing something a little different, and I'm happy for it. It's not Face Off. It's not, the two bad guys aren't back to back at one point, which would have been kind of cool. But
that would have been cool. I would have had no problem with that if we had.
I wouldn't have had a problem. I kind of did miss my doves. We did get a weird bird.
We got
a parrot or something.
It
was like,
why is that even there?
I was like, was that John Woo just going, I've got to give him a bird? So, but man, Joel Kinnaman, he's one of my favorite actors right now. The way he is so expressive in everything he does with his eyes, his body language, when he's trying to speak, even though, he has no voice box, when he mouths to his wife, help me, like whenever she brought him home. This was an emotional roller coaster at the beginning of this movie. And then it gets badass again. And then I'll tell you right now, my wife was crying at the end of this movie. She's like,
I was tearing up as well. Yeah.
I mean, she was full out bawling. She was like, oh my God, I was not expecting any of that. Why am I crying in an action movie?
Because it's a study of grief rather than just an action movie.
This is completely grief ridden. This is, what would drive someone to that edge, or you felt like everything was gone. And God bless, dude, I can't wait to watch this again, man. I was in it, man. I was immersed. I loved it all, every second of it.
Fair enough.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So, yeah. Okay, Jay.
Well, okay. So I was by myself in the theater. They ran it for me.
There was only 3 of us in ours. So,
okay. I gave it 5 out of 10 on my system, which is a pass by my rating system. I was not emotional at all. I didn't care at all about anything that happened in this movie. I don't know at all. I thought the first 5 minutes was pretty cool. Just him running after the thing. And that was really neat. And then it kind of, it went back. I think that my problem is that everything is just sort of a bare minimum checkbox in this movie. It's like, okay, his kid's killed. Yeah, his kid is killed by a stray bullet in a gun battle, in a gang war. And I'm like, okay, that totally sucks. And that's sort of like this random violence where now he's going to clean up the streets or whatever. But somehow he pinpoints that the stray bullet was from this guy and that, and he runs after him, which is fine. And then that guy shoots him in the throat. I was like, okay. And then we see, because there's no dialogue, that doesn't bother me. But when there's no dialogue, the visual things that the character does has to be even more great. Like the villain is there with the community. He's giving, I guess he was selling drugs or something. You can't tell him.
He was giving them dollar bills.
He doesn't seem that bad. I didn't see him do anything heinous. He didn't go up to his kid and execute him. He executed that guy because that guy got involved and fought, like Joel Kinnaman. He fought him, so he executed him. But he's not doing anything evil, so I didn't despise him. I understand he's a villain just because he's a gang villain, And I'm like, okay, so he's a bad guy. So that's a checkbox. Like, yeah, he's a bad guy and screw him. But I wasn't excited for him to die. Like in some of these other revenge pictures where like, oh man, I want that guy to get his. And I was like, okay, he's a bad guy. I hated the girl more, and he decided to not pull the trigger on her. I'm like, she's just shooting at you. You just killed 4,000 guys. Just shoot this woman.
And she poured that green shit on you, whatever it was.
Yeah, it's like shoot. Right. See, okay, so that's an example of the character doing something really unnecessarily mean, where you're like, F this person.
You hated her more than him. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, the guy didn't do anything. So why am I excited for him to lose? And listen, the kid getting killed is tragic and awful, and it's gang violence. If he just went crazy and became a vigilante, like a death wish, I'm going to kill all these guys. Okay, but he's targeting. And then it was like, he's not a military person. He doesn't have any training, but he's also a human being who has seen action movies and shouldn't be this dumb. He literally leaves the knife in the table right next to the guy. So the guy just cuts himself free. And then there's a fight. I'm like, because there's a part where like, oh, we need to heighten the tension.
We need a fight now.
We need a fight now. It's like, this is so dumb. Like, oh, he's not a trained person. Well, is he like mentally handicapped? Like, why would you leave a knife there? Like, is this? And then he gets stabbed in the leg with that knife. That is the biggest walking it off I've ever seen in my life. He got stabbed with the knife. The next scene, it's never addressed again. He's walking totally fine. I'm like,
no,
okay.
He's got a limp in the rest of the movie.
No, I don't think so.
Noticing it.
Well, I don't know.
Hobble into one side because he does drive in the very next like big action sequence.
And then I didn't like he gathers together this information from this guy who could have just been lying, and he sends it to the police. And I don't think that, I'm not sure if John Woo knows or whoever the writer is how it works. I think the police know who the gangbangers are and what the hierarchy is. They can't get them, and they can't get anyone to testify against them, and they can't make charges stick. So I understand that he gave the cop that thing. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, what am I supposed to do with this? And that's number one. He goes, you should have done your job.
That's
Hold on a
him
second.
thinking he's helping though, without knowing what he's doing.
I know.
It would have been different if the cops had acted on it.
Right.
Say the cops had acted on it, you'd be like, that's bullshit.
Right.
You know, when Spider-Man catches a purse snatcher, you can't make it stick.
Right.
You know, he's going to walk tomorrow.
Pun intended. But hold on a second. The cop then realizes, oh, this guy's going to this location. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow him to that location and not wear any body armor or get any backup, because it'll be cooler if the two of us are just walking around like idiots and we just get shot. Like,
yeah,
okay, like, oh, and Joel Kinnaman isn't a big, yeah, but this is a cop. Like, why is he making stupid decisions? There's a lot of like bad decisions in this movie that lead to action, which is okay in my opinion. I don't think it's that great action. I could barely see half the entire ending. It's all in the dark. You can't see shit. I'm like, okay.
Really, that's not everything. I think it's that cinema you go to. The Mississauga cinema is actually a piece of shit of a place anyway. I saw everything clearly because I was in the Varsity Theater, and it looked great.
Yeah, this wasn't in the same screen. Maybe I don't know. Yeah. It was dark. But anyways, even if it wasn't dark, it was slightly hectic, and John Woo doesn't really go to that. I don't know. I didn't think it was that gritty. I just like he's shooting, and there's like a cop shootout. I don't know. I just kind of like didn't care. And he's going through all the guys, and then that woman's shooting. I'm like, just shoot this woman. Oh, I'm not going to shoot her because she's a girl, and I see that she's on drugs. Okay, so the guy who you're going to shoot is on drugs. Everyone you just shot is on drugs. I don't get it. And then the wife
punch her or something. Like I was mad at that scene too. I was like, reach out and punch her, knock her out. Something.
It's just the obligatory. Oh, we're not going to shoot because she's a woman. He feels bad, and then she turns on him like, yeah, I saw that. I thought this was very pedestrian. So if you're looking at this as an action movie in general, it's fine. If it's a John Woo movie, it's a hyper disappointment because he's never been pedestrian, even in his more different kinds of movies. Him not talking was a cool idea. No dialogue is a super cool idea. Whether you told me or not, it wouldn't affect my thinking, but I thought it was an awesome idea. I love that it's Silent Night. It literally is silent. So it's not just Silent Night as a thing. The title has another meaning. He's silent because he can't speak, but the movie is also silent. So I love that double meaning. That's cool. I like this Joel Kinnaman, like Rick Flag or whatever. I don't know his I like Rick Flag. I the son getting killed is sad. I don't know. I don't have any kids. I wasn't that sad by it. It would have been worse if he execute. I just feel like it was
pretty
just
fucking
like
bad.
It was pretty bad, dude. I got 3 kids, and I know that was one of the things that affected Jackie the most.
No, but I'm saying like I'm not
yeah.
I'm not angry at the guy for it. I'm angry at the situation, but not at the guy. And I'm supposed to be angry at the guy because he can't stop the situation. Like the gangs are just going to continue.
Yeah, it was an accident. Yeah, but then
It was
it's an accident, but they're firing submachine guns in a car chase through a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But how does he know it was that guy? Like, and
he doesn't know it was that he knows that's the guy that shot him.
No, because he doesn't know. Remember, he runs after them, and then he runs.
He runs after the cars that caused his son to die.
Right.
He doesn't know I love those freaking tattoos they put on that dude.
Yeah.
I was like, if you want to make your guy stand out, I like that.
Well, they have to visually make him stand up because he can't verbally say anything. So I understand where they're coming from.
I dug that. But the whole thing with him chasing the cars, because when he attacks that guy's car, that's after it has done, the other one has done the flip.
That's just when it's just happened. So that's when he sees him.
He just knows that these guys are responsible for killing, or at least my son. He probably doesn't even know his kid's dead at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
He goes after him, doesn't know who's who. This is just the final guy, and he's laying there, and he gets out and shoots him in the neck. So the rest of the revenge is now, you are part of why my son died, but you also are the one that tried to execute
my voice.
me.
Right. Yeah. But he didn't. What about the other gang? What about the rival gang?
Well,
they were fighting.
He's actually he just finds them because that's the whole part of the car chase. When he's in the car later in the movie, that's the gang war, and he doesn't care who he's.
No, he's just escalating it. He's doing his fistful of dollars thing there.
Yeah, like he
against each other. Yeah.
He shows up to that area. Okay, so the 2 gangs are fighting each other. One of the gangs is responsible for his son's death, and the leader of the other gang is responsible for shooting him. Why is the leader in a car chase? I don't think that would happen, but let's say it does. Like,
who knows what the old gang?
Sure, he's there.
Right.
And he also has this like super epic like area.
I kind of does that.
It's like it's not. I don't know.
It's
not working for me.
The other part of this movie is
it's like this junky ass shit abandoned thing, and then his room's got all this like cool shit in it. It's like, is this the same location? Like, where is this?
With the flashbacks that they were doing, and I can only guess because I don't know what John Woo was thinking, but this also feels like the crumbling of society around him. It's not just his life, but we're watching, like in his flashbacks, the grass is greener, the neighborhood looks a lot cleaner. Then all of a sudden it comes back to present time. There's trash in the road.
So he's an unreliable narrator. In his mind, it's beautiful and
it's John Woo. I mean, has he ever been like that clear of a storyteller? I mean, he does great action and stuff, but I don't know. I think I was happy I wasn't watching a Hard Target clone. I was like, we always talk about, man, I want something different. I want something new. I want to see something really cool. And John Woo, he's getting older too. What, he's in his 70s now? Or
he's got a walking stick now and everything, which sucks. I hate
it. And it's like
my hero's getting older.
He probably just had this idea of, I want to do a fully silent movie, which again, I'm totally in. I'm still one of those people that wished George Miller had actually been able to do the silent Fury Road version that he wanted to do. He did the black and white, but the studio wouldn't let him like remove all the dialogue and let it just be this. I wanted that so bad. I still want it. I want 0 dialogue in that movie and just the sound effects surrounding me. So I was in for all that, and I applaud him for this, but I don't know, man. I got way more connected to the character, putting myself in that situation. What if it was one of my kids that got shot? What if I
I think like if you've experienced grief in your life, particularly recently, like you all know, like I lost one of my best friends a few months ago. So I was thinking about that. So whenever you have that and it's close to you, and then you see it, then you fully understand everything he's going through. And I was like, well, that's his child, and this fucking guy has just taken him from him. So I was like, no, I totally get it. And just the reason why I teared up at the end, spoiler, but I just thought it was so cute having the train going around the gravestone.
God, that got me. Good God. Whenever it showed him opening the present, and you're like, okay, you got the kid a train. But man, when it shows the wife, and the letter got me too. Like he's like, I'm not going to survive this more than likely. Because he's also, he got shot in the throat, but he also got hit by a car. So he's barely been able to walk through all this. He lost his job more than likely. It's just all these things have just piled on him. and he's living in a house that it just does nothing but remind him of the life before. I don't know. It really struck a chord with me.
Mhm.
And then just the raw grittiness. This is like if the Punisher wasn't special forces. This is like watching him right after his kid and wife died, but he had no training, and then he's getting it all together. I mean, he's got the black,
but he has no, but he has no training, and he's also dumb because he leaves the knife.
Well,
and it's like it's not just a normal person, because I would not have done that.
No,
and, I mean,
there's comical making mistakes, but there are times when he does make a mistake, and you're like, yeah, okay, I get it. He's gonna make, like when he tries to save the cop, the girl that's pinned in the gang war, he's trying to do everything right, but instead of just going to her and getting her in the car, he hesitates, and then she gets shot. I mean,
it's a character
that's
flaw.
That's fine.
That's what I liked a lot, but I know that the knife in the table was just so we could get a mid-movie fight. That's the mid-movie fight.
That's the problem. It doesn't organically fit.
Well, and why would you take him back to your house too?
That's the other thing, right? Like,
you take to like an abandoned building somewhere, and then you need to, like, what if the postman comes? Hi, I just tortured this guy.
I'm just torturing this guy.
Do you want to sign for that?
I just feel when I feel that things are contrived, I immediately detach myself. I teared up in Godzilla -1, and I have zero relationship to anybody in Japan from World War II. But I understand. But the
storytelling and characters were so good in that. I mean, you could have taken Godzilla out of that movie, and
you could have. Godzilla could have been a tornado. It could have been a tornado.
Thank God they extended it, because I'm trying to get time. Hell, it was like pulling teeth for me to even go watch Silent Night, which is another thing I want to bitch about. Is the closest theaters that were even showing it were over an hour away from me, and then
for Silent Night
was for Silent Night. So I finally found a closer one. But they weren't even, their showtimes weren't even listed online. You know, whenever you like Google showtimes for Silent Night, I had to directly go to them. But I was just like, don't bitch about this movie not making money if you're not putting it in the theaters, if you're not promoting it. Right. Don't just go, well, we had to put it in, so we just did a limited release. That's bullshit, man. Because there's a bunch of people that were looking for this movie and going, well, I don't see where it's playing.
Everyone's like, oh, why is it just going straight to Sky in the UK or whatever? And it's not getting a cinema release in the UK. So it's just going to get buried, and then the movie will soon be forgotten.
It is. It's going to go to streaming. I don't know who will pick it up for the United States.
It is at least getting a nice 4K at Walmart. I saw the Steelbook, which looks awesome, so I will be getting that. One thing I never mentioned this in my review, but I thought there's a couple of moments in it which were just exactly the same scenes from Face Off, like the scene where he randomly hugs the kid outside the supermarket, which alone should have put him in jail. And you're Michael, when he does that in Face Off, and then you're like, wait, that's not the same kid. And there's like very similar scene, and story wise, it's that similar idea where it's like, he lost his kid.
It's grief. It is, and
it's very similar, and there's a couple of similar moments there. So I would say that's a valid criticism of it as well.
I think so too. I think J-Man nailed it though, with the cop not going in with a vest.
Yeah, like it's just because it's like, well, we need the cop there to get shot and have this big thing. It's like,
I mean, there's nothing particularly original about it. I mean, it's just a silent movie is the original concept. That's the
right. It didn't play a factor. Like him not being able to speak should have played either a negative in a scene or a positive in a scene. It didn't matter.
Scotland said this in his review. His review was brilliant.
I didn't watch his review, but like it's like, okay, it's just going to be silent. Awesome idea. So how's that going to play into it? Oh, not at all. It's like, oh, okay. So
no, because it's a character type thing. It's character. So Woo's probably looking at this like, if there's no dialogue and there's not even subtitles, you have to be visually engaged with the movie. Because I mean, let's face it, how many movies do we watch where we get a little bored? We're on our phone. What happened? Oh, nothing cool happened. Like, this is one of those you can't do the first time you watch. You've got to be engaged. And honestly, it makes sense because it's all acted through the face and the emotions and everything like that. And while it's not new, it's a revenge story. I still want to say it was something different for what you wouldn't expect from John Woo. I don't think of it as a failure. There's some people that are just flat out like, F this movie, you know, like this is the worst movie ever made. And I'm like, I was like, did you go in expecting what the trailer showed you? Yeah.
I mean,
if you went in expecting what the trailer was, I don't know how to help you. It's not what the movie is.
But that is a valid criticism if they say that, because the trailer is meant to showcase what the movie's about.
That's why I started out my thing with that, is because I think the studio failed John Woo in this movie, which is kind of a thing that happens. You know, how many times do these movies get failed because I don't know how to promote this? I don't, and it's a great
that is
movie.
very true.
Yeah.
I think the movie just gave you what it set out to give you. So that's why I gave it a pass. Like, okay, it's what you gave me, what you said. But Godzilla, as an example, too bad I saw it before this movie, is that it gave me a shit ton way more than I thought I would ever get. Right. And that's the thing. It's like John Woo didn't take it to the next level of what he should. He's like, what if I explain to someone, okay, it's Silent Night, this guy loses his son, where it's like, oh, okay, it's a revenge thing, cool. And that is my review. It's like, oh, cool, yeah, that's cool. Oh, it's silent. Yeah. Oh, that's neat. That's it. Like, where was the, like, what's one really awesome, like, where's the, oh man,
the fuck yeah moment, which I call it, where you're waiting for the awesome set piece and there isn't anything.
There isn't anything.
Yeah,
there's nothing that stands out.
That's where I was getting frustrated, that where I'm so used to, you know, obviously I'm sitting there going, is 87 North involved with this? You know, because it doesn't feel like it, and they're not. But I was waiting for that badass moment, you know, even let it be in the car, which the car was kind of cool whenever he was running around doing the donuts and the gang fight and shit, knocking dudes out. When he rams those two dudes down the alleyway after they robbed those two people just randomly, and he's running and that dude's on top of the car, that was pretty badass. I did like that, because that was kind of a fuck up moment. Like, he shot the one dude, but he was like, had him stuck up against, but the other guy gets on the roof.
I like that.
Just like,
I'm hoping I hit you. Come down the front of the windscreen. I like that.
And he didn't do, you know, the logical thing, which is this way. No, he held it up. I don't want to put holes in my roof. I'm going to shoot it sideways. I like that holes. It's a piece of shit Mustang that he put a bull guard on the front of. I mean, you know, it's what someone who thinks they know what they're going to do. You know, it's not like the Punisher Thomas Jane, where he's building, you know, the Pontiac and it's armored. Right. You throw up the windows. He's hanging like, you know, secondhand bulletproof vest that he got from surplus or some shit inside there, you know. So there's some thought. It's supposed to be somewhat clunky though, because I'm sure John Woo's going, this guy doesn't know what he's doing.
He guy doesn't want to live anymore. He just wants revenge.
There's that too.
He with his son. I think there's that, where it's just a suicide mission. He's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna kill whoever I can, and that's it.
Well, what do you think of Death Sentence then? That's the same. That's James Wan's same.
That's Kevin Bacon.
Chris mentioned that as well. And he said, yeah, Death Sentence is.
I promise you, I did not watch his video.
Yeah, like,
I'm not
very similar arguments.
I find him very, like, I don't want to say fake, but I don't want to knock other people's channels. I just no.
I actually really agree with him. He's actually really good, because like he doesn't look down his nose on movies or whatever, and like I like people like that, and I respect his opinion. And he loved Godzilla. He liked this, but pointed out these various flaws. Yeah, he mentioned Death Sentence. I think it was him.
Like, I was in when they killed that. I was like, "F these guys, F all of them." Yeah. I can't wait for Kevin. Yeah. And I was like, I want to see Kevin Bacon destroy these people.
Yeah.
And I thought I was getting Death Sentence, but with John Woo's flair. And I didn't get that.
I'm not going to sit here and go, you're wrong, Jay, man. It was just not what we're doing.
Yeah, sadly, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying.
No. What I really think the only real difference between us is Owen and I had a more emotional attachment to it than you did. We have the same probably criticisms,
right?
Being an action channel, and we know what we like and we know what we want to see.
Yeah.
But I think there's that one disconnect of I got emotionally invested in Joel Kinnaman's character.
Yeah, I didn't at all.
I put myself in his shoes, and you know, it's like, you know, I'm a little different. I got 3 kids. I can't go do dumb shit like that. If one of that happens to one of them, I got 2 more I got to take care of.
Right.
But it doesn't take away any amount of the grief I would be experiencing, or the anger or hatred or wanting to go do that. You know, that's a huge factor into it, is he was ready to drink himself away. I mean, he
Yeah,
honestly
Yeah, I mean, it broke him
was.
because like he drives his wife away, which is the thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
he's so much like broken. I was like, okay, there's no coming. Whenever the wife leaves, I was like, oh, he's gonna have to die at the end. Then
Yeah, there's no coming back.
Right.
There's no coming back.
Yeah.
Because
Like,
what
just- no, yeah.
he has saved her in his mind. Like,
Mhm.
I'm no longer a burden on her anymore. I'm not
And to be
dragging her down.
safer.
Whenever
Yeah.
she was painting the picture and it's of their son, he's smiling because he's like, that's her healing. That's
Right.
her coming.
She walked it off pretty fast, I have to say.
I
didn't see much grieving from her at all. I was just like, they went
She's
cut back.
having
And
to-
I'm like, she seems fine. Like,
I'm sure there was some grief that can't be shown, but you also got to realize she is now. She's the one that has to go to work. She's the one that has to make sure, is he at least eating, even though he's having a liquid diet. She is carrying all of the stress and burden of everything. So as a mom, I mean, it'd be perfect to ask Jackie what she had thought about something, because she would have more connected with the mom character of what are you experiencing? Because I mean, when we first got married, I got deathly sick. I almost died. And Jackie carried the household. She carried all that on her shoulders. And then unbeknownst to anyone, she was also sick and potentially could have died. And so roles got reversed as soon as I was better. And then I was taking care of her. So it's a hell of a way to start the marriage, but that's why it's 22
well,
get
the sickness out of the way.
We got the sickness.
Continue with the health part.
Now we're in the health. I wish the and good fortune was still coming, but it's all
we all.
Yeah. But like I said, I think that's where it was, for some reason this connected to me emotionally. And I think that's what a lot of people that are complaining about the movie also are like you, J-Man. They didn't get that emotional connection. They want John Woo. They want the doves and the dual.
Yeah.
And honestly, let's say there is dual wielding in this movie, but it's kind of like, hey, we're dual wielding, and that's all we ever get. And it's from the cop that we're already mad at for not wearing a vest.
The problem was, though, is that, and I mentioned this whenever I reviewed it, is that a lot of the stuff in John Woo's films is unintentionally funny to Western audiences a lot of the time, like the slow motion and everything. And that's why a lot of the films didn't connect with audiences here. And like when I went back to Hong Kong, because he would make them, and a lot of times audiences were like, what? Or and just giggle a bit or whatever, because to the Western culture, it seems silly or whatever else, whereas it's cool
right
over there. So it's just very different. Oh, there's a comment. Look.
Hello, Bucky.
I don't even have
it. Could you go to Jewel Wheel? Yeah.
That's
the cop.
Yeah. The cop.
Yeah, that was cool. I mean, I like the action. I thought it was good, but yeah, there wasn't anything where you're like, oh my god, I love that scene, or that scene, it was really amazing. Like, to be honest, I haven't really given the movie much thought since I've watched it. I'm thinking more about Godzilla, which I've seen.
See, I haven't seen that, so I think there's a difference there, because I have been thinking about Silent Night, because I haven't got to go see. And J-Man, I almost think that's maybe a little unfair, because we usually go, we're not going to compare this to other movies. We're not going to.
I try.
And you're sitting there going, John Woo, you didn't bring it as hard as Godzilla did. And I'm like, I don't think John Woo knew he was up against.
No, John Woo didn't bring it as hard as he could have brought it. Godzilla brought it as better than what they could have brought it. That's how I'm looking.
On a budget of 15 million,
right?
And I don't understand how come the visuals in like a $15 million Godzilla movie are better than like the new Godzilla X Kong or whatever. And I was like, why does that look kind of video gamey, but this looks awesome?
Well, there's more to them. It's not just a moneymaker. It's an important cultural icon.
Godzilla is a cultural icon. Yeah,
that's why they've always been so protective over it. It's your thing. So make Godzilla however you want, but I can't wait to watch it. I mean, a lot of my friends have seen it 3 or 4 times already. Like they've just gone over and over and over again and watched it.
I was seeing it. One of the members of 8711 was involved with this, named Jeremy Marinas, who fought Scott Adkins at close range and was a fight choreographer in John Wick 4.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Well, good. I mean, someone had to be there. It wasn't that style of fighting that I've gotten used to, but you have to go, well, in Nobody, he was trained. In John Wick, he's trained. In Bullet Train, they're all assassins. So there's a different style of fighting as compared to regular guy and gang members. Like even the gang members, nobody popped out knowing kung fu.
No, they're idiots. That's fine.
Yeah,
when
he's
dispatching them, Yeah, he comes to their territory, so they're not ready for him, so he can dispatch them easier. So I liked all of that kind of thing.
Yeah, because if you go back to like, I love watching like the 90s straight to video movies, like the PM Entertainment movies, whatever, those are the best. But whenever you watch them and it's like Don and Dragon Wilson comes up against like some gang members or whatever, and they all know Kung Fu or whatever, and they're all
Every
fighting,
one of
like,
them.
and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's not what would happen in real life.
There's like one or two that put on bandanas and they're all like, I got nunchucks all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's just to showcase his, because if you're a Kung Fu master fighting someone who doesn't know Kung Fu, then it doesn't come across as cool as someone who knows even a little bit to make it look somewhat visually interesting versus I just come and kick the shit out of you, right?
This was like you say, is a little more raw, a little more gritty. I wanted to talk a little bit more about the staircase scene because I do like how he changed that up. Instead of a lot of staircase scenes usually have the barrier, the handrail that's raised up.
Camera goes down and then over. That was the best shot of the movie.
This is just flat steps. So there's no cover if you really think about it, unless you're directly under the other stairs. So he is wide open, but the gang members are wide open. So it's a matter of who's going to fire first. You can't stop and think. It's like when those ones started coming out of the door when he gets to the top of them steps and he's just blowing them away with the shotgun. I was really enjoying that part because it was just this insane chaos. And you're just like, shit, anyone could be coming from behind him. Why didn't you go in that door? Why didn't you find another way? No, he just kept pushing forward and working his way up that staircase. So I did like that.
He was smart. I guess he was smart in some scenes and dumb in others, where it's like he's smart to, get the lay of the land and, get the maps and all that. And then, but I don't know. It just like, I just couldn't like, there's so many weird things that were just contrived. And I'm like, ugh, I just couldn't get.
He is a hard character to like in it though. I mean, you feel bad that he lost his kid and everything, but like the way he sort of treats his wife and then she goes away and everything, like he's not particularly sympathetic. You're not like, oh, I really like this guy. And we're like, you're like, no, this guy's kind of broken and I kind of know what's going to happen in the end. But
when he started drinking,
yeah.
When he started drinking, that's kind of when it went down. But I think that's what they're trying to show is the alcohol. Yeah. Because when she brought him home, I'm still, with him when he's, kind of walking through. I mean, they hadn't even took down the Christmas tree yet. Everything was still up because all that happened.
Kids' room was still there and everything.
The kids' room was all laid out, and he freaks out, which hell anybody would have at that point. He just kind of starts slamming stuff around because you're mad at everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can't empathize with them. Yeah,
you have to be able to at least empathize. The other thing, for as far as the visuals go, I was a little like intrigued by the lair of the bad guy. I was like,
the big baubles.
They really laid into the Christmas time. Like this dude, I sit there watching the movie going, did he have a decorator? Is there a gangbanger decorator that walks around? Giant gold balls. Is that what we're going for?
Right.
Well,
and the rest
we can get 6
trash.
inches. He's like, no, I want 24-inch balls hanging from my ceiling.
I'm already there.
But it was cool. It did give a little pop of color to pretty much a very dull palette of a movie. Yeah. Even the car is a dull maroon color. It's not shiny. It's not even black. It's just, boom, here it is. I'm not going to take the time to paint this damn thing. And the gang members are driving around in fancy cars, but that's about the best they ever did.
So while you guys were, I was just concocting this in my head. So what if the kid gets shot random violence? The wife is super grieving and can't deal with it, and he's grieving. She commits suicide because of the grieving, which drives him even more over the edge. Then you go to City Hall. Mayor, what's going on with this gang violence? And the mayor's like, well, we can't do anything. And, and then there's some shyster where it's like, oh, no comment, you need to amp up the emotion but again, that would require dialogue. So it is difficult. Yeah.
Right.
It's difficult to do no dialogue, but when you have it, this is why silent films have exaggerated emotions. This killer needed to be more he needed to enjoy being a villain more. Like, there should have been more it's like, who's this guy? And, and they're laughing at him. And, if you removed the dialogue from RoboCop getting killed, like Alex Murphy getting killed by Clarence, you're like, they're laughing and they're having a good time and all. It's like, F these guys.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that. Like, you can empathize with the hero, but you need to hate the villain because it's a random act of violence that they're not targeting the kid. You know, it's like, okay, I like the death sentence better where it was an initiation tactic. Like,
It's
okay,
a better movie.
That was a lot better. I'll definitely agree with that.
Yeah, that's so that was my only, and then I thought, okay, and I understood that it's gonna be gritty. He doesn't know what he's doing. That's fine. And I'm like, okay, he did the right thing. That was weird. But I do like that I do like that he tried to do good things when he came across them. So it shows that he has some sort of like, he's not completely lost to grief. Yeah. If he's completely lost to grief, he would not care about anything but just completing the mission. So there was some humanity still left in him. He doesn't want to shoot the girl because of, whatever. He doesn't realize that we're all equal now, so we can shoot anybody we want.
Right. Well, he tries to save the cop.
He's a chauvinist.
He intervenes after the fact on the robbers, but he does intervene.
He does intervene. He sees it and he's like, oh, he's not lost his humanity. So that's good. That is all good. But then the thing is that like it's just like a bit lackluster for me. I don't know. The guy in the big balls room like, what is happening here? Like,
I mean, we were all thinking that. You're like, wow, this guy really goes all out for Christmas.
Like,
I want to be on this guy's Christmas card list every year. That's
everything else is awful. Like all the other everything else looks like a complete dump, and they're just like, I think it's almost an after. Oh, let's have this cool thing for this villain. It's like, yeah, but why? He didn't do anything villainous enough for me to hate him. And I can empathize with the villain, but then I empathize with the hero, but I gotta hate the villain because I want to see that guy. That's one of my issues with Death Wish Part 1. He actually doesn't kill the guys.
There's no actual main villain, and
right. That's a statement movie. That's a statement movie, and then obviously 2 and 3 corrected all those things because they just went right for the.
And that's kind of what I feel like he's doing here is because the reason we're supposed to like know these are other than what we just watched is they're the top most wanted here. That's the most wanted wall.
Yeah. They showed that. They showed that,
and they show that.
But the cops knew this. So what was he handing them? He's handing them information. Here's all the things but we know this.
As someone who has no idea how it works, he's going, I'm going to give them all the pieces that why they haven't been able, what he thinks they haven't been able to go do their job. Even though you're right. I believe they have every bit of information he handed
they know.
them. They have informants, but it's a process. One person isn't going to equal getting rid of an entire gang.
Right.
But because he doesn't know better, I'm going to get all this information. I'm showing them that I can do your job better. And that does give a reason for the cop to go, this motherfucker's going to get himself killed. I better go there.
Right. Without any bulletproof vest or
without a bulletproof vest, or to just be like, when he sees him going, bro, we got to get out of here. Like, come on, you've done enough. I'll figure this out. Let's get out of here now while we both still can. Instead of let's team up all of a sudden, and then I'm gonna die in 5 minutes.
Right. I do like this right. I do like the idea of a random team up like in Death Wish 3, which is like the two of them walking down the streets.
But that movie's great scenes of all time.
That's right. Yeah, that's one of the greatest scenes. So where's one of the greatest scenes of all time from this? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is a bad movie. Again,
no,
I'm not even in my. I'm not saying. I'm just saying this is like just John Woo. He went through the motions to deliver his thing. He delivered it, and it was pretty cool. It's like, yeah, that was pretty good. I like that movie.
More blackjack than hard boiled. That sort of thing.
One of the ways I told somebody
that's a good friggin' analogy.
That is. But one of the things I told someone that I was talking to him about, I was like, this is an art house action movie is really what it comes down to. Like, this was an experiment. This is something John Woo just, for whatever reason, needed to get out there. And and that's with art house. Like, we have it on our show. Pete brings on an art house horror movie, and it's either it hits for me or it just fucking misses me completely. And I'm just like, what did you make me sit here and watch? That's kind of what I think this is. This is probably one of the few art house action movies, if you want to call it that. Is it's either going to hit or it's really not going to hit. And, that's it. I think it's all in the mindset of how it is you're going to watch it. If you're expecting hard target, you're going to be fucking disappointed. If you can at least
have pushed it more. Like
I wish he had, yes.
If his memories are super shiny, make it really like do the lights, the strobe light, like have it be like flares and all this, like have it be super shiny. It may be even a little fake where it's like, it's like, wow, this is the greatest thing. And you've ripped everything from me.
Take a little bit of the RoboCop flashbacks, mix it with the Face Off flashback.
Yeah.
Where, Travolta's remembering, everything with his kid, take a little bit of those, mix them together, and make it ethereal feeling.
Yeah, so that
really
you need to communicate it better to me, because I'm sitting here like, okay, I didn't even, and I'm good at figuring this kind of stuff out, but you point out, Charlie, that I didn't really even think about it, which is he's unreliable. His memories are unreliable. They're happier than they probably are, right?
Right.
Then and I never pieced that together because it was maybe too subtle, and I wasn't expecting anything subtle in this movie. But even thinking back to it, it's like it's so subtle that maybe the memories were true. Like you're also interpreting that, but it could just be that is what it was like, right?
There was that one moment that I think Wu was trying to make things a little better than they were, because there's a memory that definitely doesn't happen. He is watching his son graduate, and his son's like
that's
4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And honestly, that one pops up, and I was like, oh fuck, dude. That hit. That was a gut punch right there whenever you see that. So I agree with you, J-Man. I think he should have went further with it and really pushed the emotion.
Darkness even further. Like,
push
both extremes. You went from pure joy to pure hell.
Have him kill the
Kevin Bacon does in Death Sentence. Look at the state of Kevin Bacon at the end of Death Sentence. He's a fucking mess. And the guy look at you, I've taken everything from you, or whatever he says to him at the end. And there's like,
that's a descent into madness, into Dante's Inferno.
Yeah.
He should have killed the cop. When the cop kept telling me he should turn around and kill him, I was like, oh, should I kill the cop? I was like, oh, well. Like, it's like, that would have been a, oh, shit.
That would have caught you completely off
right. So see, that's what I'm saying. But like, they didn't, I don't know. I think John Woo had this really cool idea, and they're like, let's do this cool thing. It'll be really fun and neat, and it'll be kind of a bit different. And
maybe better in concept than in execution.
Yeah. But it's not that bad in it's not so bad in execution. It's just that it's John Woo. You put that name on it. You're like, I remember seeing Face Off, and I had this exact same reaction. My friends came out of Face Off, and they're like, well, this is the best John Woo movie ever. I'm like, apparently you've seen 0 John Woo movies except for Face Off.
Yeah, I've always been mixed about Face Off. I remember just thinking when I came out of Face Off, and I was like, that was really dumb. And I could never get behind the concept, really. And that was the thing. And I was like, it was such an out there concept. I mean, you can try to suspend disbelief up to a point, but for me, it was just like, and the overacting and everything. And
I kind of like the I like the concept. I kind of fell for it.
Yeah,
I got suckered in. Yeah, I did get.
It would have lost something without the overacting, in my opinion. You got Nicolas Cage and John Travolta. I need that with them two in the movie.
I did get suckered in for that. I think that my buddies just got suckered into, and then they lost their minds. I'm like, guys, this is not like, okay, concept wise, it's super cool. That is the end of that sentence, right? Like, the concept of Hard Boiled is not as cool as the concept of Face Off. Yeah, but Hard Boiled is the goddamn best thing ever. Like, every damn scene is insane.
Of all time.
Right.
It's like, it's literally insane. It's like the last like half an hour is like, if you don't, there's no dialogue, and not because it's Silent Night. There's no dialogue because they're just shooting everybody.
Nobody's got time to talk.
Still the best hospital scene I've ever seen in a movie.
Oh yeah. And plus people in real life hide their ammunitions and stuff in hospitals, right? So right, like, I mean, this is like 1989 or 88 or something.
86, I think it was. Yeah.
86.
Wow, it released in Hong Kong, right? Was 86, and then we got it. I think in the 90s.
Yeah, I got it. I think I saw it 88, 89. I think I'm not.
Because I think it took a while for us to get it over here.
I remember it was around Batman 89, so it may have been slightly after Batman 89 when I saw that. So anyways, whatever. But yeah,
I didn't watch it until after I watched Hard Target. I saw Hard Target first, and then I saw like his catalog, because I was like, oh, this dude's awesome. I want to keep watching it. Now I will say, last week, while I was out of town, I was like, screw it, I'm just going to throw on Mission Impossible 2, kind of get into the John Woo.
So what did you about that one, Charlie? I haven't seen that since the theater, and in the theater I was disappointed again. But what do you think?
I was still disappointed, but what I wasn't disappointed with was the action sequences. Like, the action sequences were badass, but the story kind of sucked.
I was actually obsessed with Mission Impossible 2 when it came out. I haven't watched it in years.
Oh, dude, they had
everyone's
Metallica did a soundtrack. It was the biggest event.
Hans Zimmer did the
when it
music
came
as
out.
well, and it had a cool electric guitar version of the theme tune. And it's the coolest Mission Impossible movie. I'm sorry, it's fucking cool. Everyone's wearing. It feels like a John Woo movie.
He's got
with
the
slow
long
motion.
hair and
Oh, yeah.
everything.
Long
and
hair,
sunglasses.
the shades, motorbikes. It's cool.
He's doing the rock climbing at the beginning, which is still badass as all. The motor,
then,
like the motorcycles are cool and all that other shit.
Yeah.
But
and Dougray Scott is a decent villain, like because
Yeah.
Mission Impossible movies, I never remember who the villains are really.
Me neither.
In
No.
But I always remember Dougray Scott because you should have killed me. I remember that because he's from Glasgow, of course, so therefore.
There you go.
What?
But I mean, the whole, like, because that's the one with the virus. You got the Chimera and then the Valerian that is.
It also ripped off a scene from GoldenEye. The scene with him and her in the car driving around the mountains. I was like, that was in GoldenEye.
Yeah, except then she just about wrecks and he has to save her. Like I said, action wise, man, I was all in for it. Like, it felt like Woo.
Yeah.
Just the story, I'm just sitting there going, man, Fallout is so much better than Mission Impossible 2. Fallout is like my favorite Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, I think it's probably mine as well.
They've come so far.
Not the one this year, but the one last year.
5.
Or whatever it was a few years ago. Yeah.
It's Ghost Protocol, then
Rogue Nation,
then Fallout,
then Dead Reckoning Part 1.
It's 6.
Oh, it's number 6 then. I've only seen the first 4. I only saw the first 4.
Yeah, Dead Reckoning was okay. We can talk about that at the year-end thing, but
it's a part 1, so
it's too long.
I haven't even watched it because it's part 1, so I was like, it would never be my pick anyway. But yeah, part 1, I want to watch them together, which is going to be probably 6 hours.
And apparently, rumor has it they're going to change the title of the second one now as well because that's one underperformed.
Well, I can get it underperformed because you said part 1. People don't want to watch half a movie.
And you released it before
I didn't go because of that. As soon as you guys told me it was a part 1, I didn't go. And I'm a huge Mission Impossible fan, but I was like, it's part 1. I'm not going to go spend the money to go to the theater.
Yeah, it's so that is. We can talk about this at the when we talk about the,
the
year in action, but it is a very tiresome trope. People are over it, like hardcore over it. They're like, F this thing. Yeah, I don't know. Who didn't know about PG-13 works and shadows?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he was probably a little bit like hands behind his back, so there's not like blood squibs and people dying everywhere.
It's still the most violent of the Mission Impossible movies. It was a 15, I think, in the UK when I went to see it.
Is it more violent than?
Oh yeah,
Fallout brought the violence back.
It's been so many years since I've watched 2. I mean, at some point, I would like to watch them all and then maybe rank them at some point. But it's a lot of work.
That'd be fun. That's a lot. That's like
I
mean, it's not quite James Bond, but it's still a lot to. Yeah, there was squid, but it wasn't like people died. Like in this movie, I mean, the decapitation scene in this movie was actually pretty badass when that SUV slams into that forklift and that dude's head just gone, completely gone. That was pretty fucking cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's a good decapitation in what you're saying. Continue talking while I think about it.
There's always room for a decapitation in a movie. I'm always here for it.
Hey, Robert Englund says that in New Nightmare, where he goes, "We could start a romantic comedy." Who said it can't be a decapitation?
That's right. I mean, there were still points that Woo was definitely in this movie with Silent Night. It's just like you said, J-Man. I don't think he pushed for a movie that he should have been allowed to really push the envelope and really just go for it. I don't know why he was so hesitant. It's like, get to your fuck it moment. Like, I thought this would be your fuck it moment. Like, you're doing a movie called Silent Night. It's coming out Christmas. You're laying into this whole last year we had Violent Night, which blew my fucking mind.
Which actually I thought that even though that one had criticisms, I thought that pushed it better than he pushed it here.
Oh,
I really enjoyed it more second time. Looks great in 4K.
Oh, we're covering it for our Christmas episode this month. So, and we all absolutely just love it to death. The more I've watched it, I just start picking up little things everywhere, and I just
don't forget all my negatives I made on that one. They were great points.
I know. Everybody, go check out that last year's Christmas episode. Where what was it? Violent Night and Fat Man as well.
Versus Fat Man, yeah.
Yeah.
So on a random note, I wasn't even going to mention this because I'm still boiling with rage, but today I was supposed to do an interview.
Oh yeah.
with Pierce Brosnan,
No.
and he didn't show up.
Oh,
Oh,
fuck
no.
that.
And it was supposed to be yesterday, and they were like, "Oh, hi, the schedule's not going to work today. Can we do it tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, tomorrow's fine. That's okay. I can do it at work." And then they were like, "Sorry, the schedule's not going to work, so I don't know if we're going to be able to make this happen." And I was like, "But you fucking emailed me and you told me it was approved. Why didn't you get the times and make sure it's going to happen before you tell me it's going to happen?" Like, it's pretty basic stuff.
Yeah. That's
So,
the left hand not knowing what the right hand's doing.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it's when you're dealing with agents and things like that.
And both hands are giving you the finger.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I would rather you just said no at the start because I wasn't expecting it to when it was first.
Right. Don't get my hopes up, damn it.
That's just... Yeah, that was saying. Don't give me hope. Don't do that.
Don't give me hope.
This is totally it. And I'm so pissed. I mean, so that was supposed to happen today, so it didn't, and maybe someday. But tomorrow I'm interviewing Rob. I can't remember his last name. Sorry, Rob. But he plays Ricky in Trailer Park Boys.
I've seen zero episodes of that.
I've seen a handful. It just was never something that caught me. I like the dude that plays Bubbles. I like that character.
Like everybody likes
everybody likes Bubbles, but
yeah,
I like My Name Is Earl. I thought that was a good show. My Name Is Earl. Did you watch My Name Is Earl?
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I used to watch it.
That was a phenomenon, dude. Everybody watched My Name Is Earl.
Yeah, I like that show.
Yeah. Hold on, let's see.
Next year.
Oh yeah. 3 years in
3 years in a row. Christmas action bangers. True.
Yeah. Not for me though, unfortunately.
Next year we get Havoc. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Havoc because Tom Hardy and Gareth Evans, director of The Raid.
Really?
I like that one.
Yeah, dude, and I think it's going to be a Netflix film. So don't know that.
Well, I'm not going to poo-poo it yet because I still like Triple Threat. That pretty much went straight to Netflix, and Triple Threat was badass. So
Triple Threat didn't go to Netflix. That went like DVD and everything. Yeah, but
it hit Netflix for us. Yeah, it never even. Yeah, it didn't hit DVD till later.
You mean the one with like Tony Jaa?
Yeah, Tony Jaa and Michael Jai White. And,
I love that movie.
Yeah, it hit.
I haven't seen that. No, I don't even know what this is.
Right, I'll get it for you for Christmas.
It's really good, dude. No, seriously,
it's awesome.
Really?
Yes.
It's sort of like what the Expendables 3 and 4 should have been. So,
yes.
I've always wanted to do this. Night Comes for us as a Netflix film, and to this day, it's the best action film on Netflix, followed by Extraction 2. I think I like that. But Night Comes for us was awesome.
2 was pretty badass. I like that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those.
The Extractions or what?
No. Or this Night Comes for us.
I slept on the Extraction movie for I don't know. I didn't watch it till like Extraction 2 came out.
Okay.
So I sat down and I watched Extraction. I'm going, why the fuck did I sit on this movie for so long?
Okay, wow.
Like I watched it and then 2 came out and I'm like, I'll tell you right now, man, you're watching a video game, but it's not in a bad way. It's just this is so fucking insane. I think you'll like the Extraction movies.
I like Chris. It's Chris Hemsworth, right?
Chris Hemsworth. It's worth
I like
time,
him too. Yeah, he's
I like
a good action star. I think he's as good as an action star.
I hope he lays into it more. Yeah, I really do.
Did you see the trailer, which I actually thought was great until it became well, for me, Dr. Wayne, The Scripture with No Words is the movie that comes to my mind. I don't know, thinking that's a Donnie Yen movie. But that movie, what's it called? Where it starts off and it's Chris Hemsworth and it's Henry Cavill and they're like agents or something. It's like, oh, this looks awesome. And then it was like a movie where it's Bryce Dallas Howard who writes a fictional
Argyle. It's John Cena. John Cena. Yeah, I watched the trailer to it and I'm like, what's that about?
It looks so cheesy. Like it's supposed to be cheese on purpose, but the first part where it was normal, like it was, I was like, oh, this looks awesome, right? And then it's making fun of the genre. I'm like, I'm like, I actually thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, Extraction 2 is definitely way up there for me as well.
I know what mine's going to be, but yeah, Extraction 2 is definitely up there.
Yeah, I know. I was discussing with it earlier with Jay before we went on. And you, maybe? Yeah. So, both Isaac Florentine films. Yeah, looking forward to them as well. I mean, there's actually some good stuff next year. I've got Beekeeper as well, which I'm really looking forward to. We'll do a chat on that.
So,
that's the main one.
Just because you mentioned it, right in that trailer, the thing is that you got the woman, you got an older lady who's on the internet. You know that they suck on computers, and then they take advantage of her and take her money.
Right.
I am automatically F everyone in that thing.
Kill them all.
Immediately, and then when he shows up, they know how to cut a trailer. He shows up, and the guy's like, "Listen, man, I gotta count 3. 1, 2, 3."
Puts the things out.
That was the damn.
You're emotionally invested just in that matter of seconds of storytelling right there.
That trailer blew me away. Owen watched me live react to that thing before we went live that night, and I was just blown away. Holy shit.
See, that got me instant pissed right now. I don't know. I'm like, F these guys. and then I was actually hoping that he was actually a beekeeper instead of like he's a beekeeper, but it means
right.
Like,
he trains the bees to kill his enemies.
No, I literally thought, I'm like, is he gonna? I was like, oh, is he gonna use bees to like do something? I'm like, oh man, I really hope that he does. He does use honey, and then
he does.
But he has to say, I think you all need to buzz off. And then
well, he could probably say it, and it could probably be cool.
Don't call me honey.
How sweet it is. Just some shit like that.
It writes itself.
It does write itself. But no, that first, they didn't even need to show the rest of the trailer. Just him going to beat those guys up. That's it. And then I actually don't pay attention too much to the trailer after that because I'm already sold. So I don't want to see that much. I'm actually disappointed that he's like, oh, he cut my fingers off. And I was like, because I wanted to see that guy suffer. When he's like, yeah, we got one. I was like, oh, I want to see this guy suffer. And then it goes to Jeremy Irons.
Hollywood's still screwing up by just basically putting all the movie on the trailer. You know,
everyone was saying that before Godzilla the other night. We had the trailer to Beekeeper, and everyone, the guy shouted at the end, was like, "You just showed the whole fucking movie." And we're like, "You really did."
He probably did. I'm sure there's some other cool shit in there, but you know, and like I said, that was one of my bitches about Silent Night. After I watched it, I'm like, this trailer's bullshit. Yeah. Like I was hyped for an action, frantic, fast-paced movie. And, you know, I even had ideas like, oh, maybe the kid was, you know, mute, so they only spoke in you know, sign language or something like that, and then he loses his voice, so now so I had all these like contrived ideas, and then I start watching it, and thankfully I didn't like get jaded by it as I went. But man, I could have, J-Man. I really could have been.
So you had more ideas than John Woo, apparently, because you thought about it more than he did.
I didn't know. Like I told you,
like
I was thinking about it before I watched it, but now I've still been thinking about it. I could fix this movie probably in about a week.
We could fix a lot of movies, so I mean,
we could.
But I remember a thing you mentioned earlier, J-Man, about how him losing his voice like wasn't used at any point, and I've heard several people talk about this, and it was a good point where you could have had a scene where he's desperately trying to tell somebody something like, there's somebody that's going to blow up in a building or something. And how to do it? Trying to find a pen and paper or whatever. He's frantically trying to find something or a phone to try and type it, and like the battery's about to run out on the phone. He's like, you know, or just give it a bit more frantic thing.
Yeah, just to stack the deck a little bit and make it, or make it a positive. It could be something where, like, you know, like they grab him and they hit him, and then he doesn't cry out, so then no one else hears, and it's like, what the heck, you know? Or I don't know, something like you would have thought there would be some use for that,
or add a whole nother like level to it. If you really want to build, like we're all saying, the bad guy should have been built up more. Make the bad guy deaf. Just add some other like reverse.
Oh, see no evil, hear no evil.
Exactly. Just kind of go like he wouldn't be able to hear him anyway, but he's lost the voice. And then
right.
Obviously, you know, deaf people can talk, but more than likely he wouldn't be talking in the movie.
Right.
So you would have basically these two silent characters going at it head to head. Again,
even like okay, look, I just came up with this just now. There's a newspaper clipping. They show the picture of the boy or whatever, saying local boy shot, whatever. The guy, he goes out to the thing. He sees the guy come out to the grocery store or wherever he was handing out the money. He grabs a newspaper and sees that the kid was killed and kind of laughs. And it's like
something.
I need to hate that. I look, I don't like him. Gangs piss me off. Right away, they had a lot of boxes checked in my level hierarchy of pissing me off. I can't stand gang members. It's bullshit. If you're a tough guy, go on your own. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. That pissed me off. Kid getting shot in random violence. I don't care who gets shot. An innocent person getting shot in random violence. F that. A kid, F it even more. So you're with me. Now I'm like, okay, let's go. And when he ran after the beginning, the first like 10 minutes was awesome. I was like, oh, yeah. Here we go. I ate up all my snacks because I was eating so fast in the first 10 minutes. I was like, oh my God. Like if things get amped up, I eat quicker. Godzilla was a roller coaster. Like, because, but anyways, so I was like eating up like crazy. And then I'm like, I finished my entire nibs. I bought the big nibs. I finished the entire nibs. He's like, shit, I finished all the nibs. I'm like, it's a good thing I did because I probably wouldn't have gone back to them after that point because I'm like, well, gosh, there was meandering, but I'm like, I get it. And Owen did warn me. He goes, there's a lot of souls. I actually wasn't bored. I didn't kill this on the pacing too much.
I
wasn't
never bored. Yeah.
No, I wasn't bored. I was interested in what was going on because I still found it. And just when it was over, I thought, oh, there wasn't anything where I was like, yeah. It's like, laugh at the clippings or I don't know. Like, dude. Yeah. I mean, he's got that girl, and now again, he's got that girl drug. Like, oh, maybe he's been like raping her or doing some bad things. So I was like, no, she's with him and she's cool with him. Like,
there were no surprises or shocks to it at all.
Yeah, like
that was the thing.
It was mundane. It was mundane.
The cop could have been a bad guy and could have been working with him or whatever. And
what if the cop gets the information and goes to kill him and comes to help kill him?
Yeah,
or something. Like, I mean,
and comes in the guise of a friend. I mean, there's so many things you could have done.
Again, it's all these are all. We're not. Everything we've come up with isn't really that new, but it's something to add. It's something to add to the formula here. Like add something to the mix of this stuff. So, anyway,
I agree.
Yeah. I know. I gotta give kudos. So it's maybe his most violent movie. Like
it's got some pretty good violence.
Yeah, it's got some good violence in it. Yeah. And I did love that fight scene with the guy. It's funny. The most painful thing in the movie is when he was getting his head off the washing machine.
Oh my God! He slams the door in his head.
Yeah,
dude. When he slammed him on the table and the table doesn't fall immediately, you're just like,
that's good.
Oh my God! And then he sits down and the table, wham, fall. I'm like, okay, I like that. I'd want to build my tables as good as that table took that hit. But yeah, leading up, I agree with you, J-Man. The knife was stupid, but that fight was actually pretty good.
That was probably my favorite movie.
I feel like they could have. Then, if you want to do that, have the guy have something up his sleeve. Like maybe he pulls out something out of his, boot, and he has a knife and cuts himself free. And then that leads you to the guy didn't frisk him. Like he didn't think ahead to. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't frisk this shit. So that's a learning experience. I got to be careful when I do this stuff. And again, he's self-taught. They do point this out, just so for people in the chat, or if you're watching this on a replay later, it is pointed out. He's watching YouTube videos and just learning himself. He's learning, like karate, like Mr. Rex says, learn karate from book, like that. Or like that Ninja Turtles remake, which was trash.
He goes to the shooting range for any actual lessons.
Everything else, he does progress. Like he's practicing.
Yeah, but he's not the Punisher.
No, he's not the Punisher. But he just did something so stupid, like a thing where you're like, oh, I forgot to frisk him, or I frisked him, but I didn't check his. Like they could have shown him frisking him, but he didn't check his boot, and he pulls something out like, oh, buddy, gotta check the boot. Come on,
right?
It's something like that where you're like, oh shit, he forgot.
Or hell, I didn't tie the knot right or something. Dumb shit.
Sure, I didn't do the knot, or this guy he can get out of it or whatever. Zip ties you can break if you put that. You ever see how to get out of the zip tie?
Yeah,
you move it to where the thing is sticking out here, and then you can just snap it open. Yep. It's like something like that where he didn't, he just breaks through. Like, what the hell? He just broke through. And then he's like, fuck, I got to be careful on how you got to zip tie 2 zip ties. It's got to be a zip tie and then a zip tie between that. And that's how you keep it. Right. Anyways, whatever.
To do it. But yeah, he's not supposed to know all that.
He's not supposed to know, but he leaves a knife. He puts a knife in front of him. It's like, okay, I'm free. I'm like, oh, buddy,
right.
Really
like, I guess if I wanted to put myself in there, you're thinking I drove it into the table. He's not going to be able to lift the knife up, but you don't think, chic, I just cut my freaking bonds. It's a dumbass move, but it's action fans, we're like, that's a really dumbass move. Like,
have you seen any other movies? Like,
right? Yeah.
And I know you're not you're CIA or something, but you saw movies, right? I hate when characters in movies have never seen other movies.
Yeah.
Where,
it's like movies don't exist in some. Yeah, it's so weird. I'd rather it just be like reference. Like I love movies when they go, yeah, that was like a total Rambo moment. It's like at least action movies exist in your universe. Thank you for that.
Yeah. No, exactly. Okay, yeah. So next week we're going to be discussing The Last Boy Scout, which is one of my favorite Bruce Willis films.
I haven't watched that in a while.
Yeah, it was awesome. And oh yeah, I still got to send you the screenplay for it, which is all that like extra stuff in it. I have the original script, which has some deleted scenes. There's like a scene where what's the bad guy's name? Oh no.
I don't remember anything from this movie. I did see the whole thing. I saw it when it came. I remember Billy Blanks was in the beginning.
Sorry, yeah. Milo. I was trying to remember the guy's name. Hey, motherfucker.
That's what it was. It's been like 3 years since I've seen it.
It's been a while since I watched it, a few years, but I love it. And like Bruce Willis is so friggin' cool in it. This is just Bruce Willis when he was just at his peak of cool. Only he could be disheveled and just be cool as fuck.
Right.
That was his best. So yeah, Milo, thank you, Bucky.
Yep, got it, Bucky.
But I hate it when they don't know what a zombie is. It's like they refuse to say like zombie. I was like in The Walking Dead, they never used the term zombie.
Yeah, we're not going to say the Z word, which was funny in Shaun of the Dead because they're making fun of that trope that we call them zombies in movies.
Yeah. A lot of people, when Walking Dead was on, a lot of people that love that show, I got to find out that they don't know shit about zombies because they were asking me all these questions like, yeah, like regular zombies, like, oh, well, is that a zombie thing? I'm like, oh my God, how are you functioning in life right now? This is crazy.
This is their first introduction.
Does the name Romero mean anything to you?
Most of them didn't even know it was a comic book, dude. Like seriously, a lot of them thought it was a TV show.
Yeah. iZombie was a comic book as well, although I read the comic after I watched the show, which I did like, but then I read the comic on, oh, this isn't anything really like it except for Liv. She was the only character they took. But anyways, her autograph's right there. Actually.
Very nice.
Because she's the Yellow Ranger. But anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I never got into Power Rangers because I was already like grew up whenever it like came on. So
we're the same age, and I was too old for it. But I'm never too old.
I was at that mark, man, where I caught it, and I was like, "This is kind of cool." But after like the third rendition of them, I was like, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah, no, can't stop. I love it all. But I'm agreeing with Bucky.
My son got into them, and I kind of it was that first like bonding moment where I was like, "Oh, we got to start with the originals." And I'm being able to tell him stuff about it. He really got into the Power Rangers there. So that
watch
was
RPM.
Cool.
RPM is
yeah, you told me about that. Yeah,
that was awesome.
The post-apocalyptic one.
It's post-apocalyptic. Yeah. There's only one city left. It's like a dome city. This virus, which is literally HAL 9000, it's the eye. It's destroyed everything, created all these robots, and that's the one where she's from. And like everyone from that show went on. Like one guy went on to Jessica Jones. It's like everybody from that show went on to. One girl went on. The Tutors, or
so
it's like a lot of people thing. Yes, a lot of people from that went on or whatever. So that's great. But I agree with Bucky on that comment. I religiously watched Walking Dead. After season 1, I thought the rest of it was not that great.
Yeah, I stopped watching it. I think season 4 or 5. I was like, yeah, I get the point.
I stopped at the prison. I was like, you guys are way off everything I know, and I was like, I'm done. Yeah.
Well, this Negan, Negan takes a baseball bat, smashes Glenn in the friggin' face. His eyeballs popping out. Yeah. And then it's like, well, I don't know if we should kill Negan. Or I'm just spitballing here. How about we shoot him in the face immediately? And the other thing is Rosita, and I remember her name because Rosita can stand like 2 kilometers away. Ping, 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 like psh, 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 every zombie. Negan is like 3 feet from her. He shoots her, his bat blocks it. I'm like, oh boy, I've never seen plot armor. This is the most plot armor I've ever seen ever.
Like, and I like that actor. I don't, it's no hate towards that guy, but I was out. I was already mad at the show because Shane lived way longer than I wanted him to. I famously hated John Barenthal.
I like Shane
because he was Shane, and it took until he was Punisher for me to like John Barenthal.
Oh my God! Okay, we should have been friends because I like Shane. I was on Team Shane, man. I thought he was pretty good.
I hated him with all my heart. And then the TV show doesn't kill the wife the correct way. Like I remember reading that in the comic, and you turn that fucking page, and you're like, "The fuck!" I put the comic down. I went, "Oh wow, what the hell did I just see?" I pick it back up. I turn the page again. And I'm like, "Motherfucker!" Whatever.
I never read the comic.
Well, they shoot her through the back at the prison, and you don't realize she's holding the baby.
Oh,
it's a 1-panel page, and you see all the chaos in one. And when you turn that page, and there it's full on, shit. And she's hit, and you just know she's holding. And
that's brutal.
And the TV show's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. I'm like,
yeah, well, Kirkman did say he's not going to adapt this. He literally said, "I'm doing my own." He goes, "I'm just going to."
There was stuff he wanted to do
anyway.
Right.
I want to see something different. Yeah,
like I wasn't mad about them adding. I can't think of his name now. Dude from Blade 2 and the fucking biker dude with the crossbow.
Daryl.
I wasn't upset with them adding the character Daryl. He wasn't in the book.
Yeah, he's new. Yeah.
Oh, I like Daryl.
I loved him. I thought he was great. Him and his brother.
No, he has his own show.
Yeah,
which I haven't watched and never will.
It's got to stop, man. When does it stop? You've already had the early spinoff.
Fear
now everyone.
Now this, and then there's a Negan and what's her name?
Negan. Isn't there supposed to be one with Andrew taking the sheriff doing his own spinoff, and then you have Daryl doing his? It's like, stop. Just, I swear to God, if there's another convention that just has nothing but Walking Dead characters, just stop. It's enough already.
So dragging it out, zombies. Anyway, one thing I just want to go back to Silent Night. Because, by the way, anybody who's watching for the first time, this happens all the time where we go off on random tangents and start talking about all kinds of nonsense. So, but yeah, back to Silent Night. I did like Marco Beltrami's score. I thought that was nice, and it kind of incorporated Silent Night, the tune. Sometimes I like the main theme of it, and that worked really well in the film. And I haven't sort of seen Marco Beltrami do anything major for a while because he did some good scores. He did the music to some of the Scream movies, a whole bunch of stuff. So I liked him, but yeah, I mean, is Silent Night perfect? No, but I enjoyed it for what it was. And these days, whenever amazing action movies, it's not the 80s and 90s anymore. We don't get them that often. So, but I think this year we have had some good ones, and we will get into that the week after next whenever we do the year in action. So we'll go for our favorites and the ones we don't like. But I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, so next week when we're talking about The Last Boy Scout, because I've been wanting to talk about that for ages, I'm just going to excuse to watch it again.
Do I need to see the first Boy Scout or
maybe? The second Boy Scout probably.
That's a lame joke, but
it's fine.
Daniel Harris is in it.
Yes, I did know that. Yeah.
So, like Silent Night, guy, I saw it 3 for me. The action was great. You saw wherever it went. Yeah.
So 3 out of 5, not 3 out of 10. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so what are you guys doing in your shows in the next while?
Let's see, what is next week? So we just had shit. What did we do? You caught me off guard, Owen. Oh, we did I Come in Peace came out this week. So that's kind of a, I know you did it, and I was like, I gotta do it. I love it. So it's kind of a Christmas, but next week we're doing Dead Snow 2. J-Man, you might be interested in hearing what I have to say about that movie. You might enjoy that episode.
I liked Dead Snow too.
You might want to listen to what I say. And then our Christmas one that comes out the 19th is Violent Night. I know everyone's doing it. I knew that was going to happen, but I didn't give a shit. I wanted to cover it because to me it was fantastic. And then we're rounding out the month with Troll Hunter from Norwegian.
I keep forgetting to watch that, man. I wanted to see that. I got that.
It's going to come out the 26th. And what I've learned podcasting is the day after Christmas, no one fucking cares about your Christmas episodes. Everyone's over the holiday. We were like, what can we not, that's not Christmas? And we gave Pete the reins and he's like, let's do a foreign film. I'm like, fuck, Troll Hunter. Okay, fair. Let's do that one. Yeah. It's got snow in it. It works for December. So that's what we got going on.
Okay. What about you, Jake?
I'm supposed to be doing Transformers tomorrow, covering the first 3 issues of the Skybound series, which is coincidentally Kirkman's thing. But I might not be able to do that. If I don't, it'll be the next Thursday. But Friday is the Fourth World Fridays, which is Jack Kirby's Fourth World. Fourth World is Dark Side and Mantis and Desaad and all of those characters, Mr. Miracle.
Nice. Yeah.
So we've been covering that. We've been covering it all. We only got like 4 episodes left or something, so we're almost done.
Damn.
And then we're going to be moving to Frank Miller's run on Daredevil every Friday. And then every Monday is the Legion of Superheroes, which is going on episode 27 now. We're covering every appearance of the Legion of Superheroes from Adventure Comics 1940. So it's like 60s to like the 90s. We're covering every appearance that they do in the comics.
Bucky, scroll up in the chat. We've pasted them up at the top, and then they're also going to be on the YouTube channel. So,
Yep.
So you
J-Man's
can
got
check-
YouTube. I've got a podcast, which will be on, I think it's the Spotify link.
Yeah.
That,
And I think did I put the Spotify link, Charlie? I did, right? There it is again.
It'll get you there. It's Give Me Back My Action and horror movies.
Okay,
so.
yeah, I've got everything like at a moment's notice because I mod everything.
J-Man's on it, man.
I'm on top of that. Members, you subscriber, yeah, hell yeah.
We'll take them all, and we need to
take them all. So I just posted a couple of reviews today. So yeah, I've been doing that. So comic book reviews, movie reviews. Come say hi, and if you disagree with me, I'm cool with that. Make sure you comment saying you disagree with me, so I can respond back in a fun way,
respectful and dignified way.
I'll get on your Doctor Who ones and go, I've never seen a single episode, but here's my opinion on everything.
I had someone say that. I immediately destroyed their lives. I'm like, okay, I've read 0 books in my entire life, but I think, and then I pick Breaking Dawn is the best book ever written. I'm like, so do you agree with that argument? It's like nonsense. It's like, I hate that.
I would never do that. It'd just be more for poking fun, but it's true. I've never watched an episode of Doctor Who.
Yes. Well, that's to your detriment.
I've never got, I've liked some of it, what I've seen, but
it wasn't syndicated around me like it was for other people. Like I'm sure, it's a very British show when it first started, then I'm sure a lot of that kind of maybe bled into Canada and stuff. But for me, I can't sit here and think of when was Doctor Who on, because I didn't get Sci-Fi Channel till I was in my 20s. Mm-hmm. So even if that would have been one I could have saw it on, or even BBC, which I'm sure it was played on constantly. Yeah, for sure. I didn't have access to those growing up, so I knew of Doctor Who. I just never watched Doctor Who. What is Tiger 3?
Is
that's Salman Khan. Yeah, it's that's Bollywood. So
I've never seen any Bollywood movies.
I haven't either. I've
been told that I need to. Yeah, I need to watch RRR apparently. And
that's the one you guys have been talking about.
Well, I haven't seen Jawan yet. That's available. I did see Pathan, which I did review, and I think the review should still be up. That was really awesome. And I watch Bollywood movies, so I will watch the Tiger movies. I like Salman Khan; he's awesome, but I have not seen that one. I'm a bit behind because you can't find them. I tried to buy Pathan on Blu-ray, not available. I have up until a certain point, I was getting all these on Blu-ray, like Doom, the Doom series, and all that.
Yeah,
and then now it's just harder to find them. I don't know if RRR. I don't know if that's technically. Is that technically Bollywood? Maybe
it's not Bollywood. It's something else. I can't remember what the term was.
It could be. It could be South Indian. It might be a South Indian movie, which you could call Tollywood.
My Netflix has almost an entire subsection of Bollywood and.
Does RRR this is probably going to sound offensive, but does have a lot of singing and dancing shit, and that's why I haven't watched them, because I'm not interested in that.
That's been my turn. I hate musicals. Period. Yeah. I hate musicals.
I don't know. What's a musical to you? Are they singing dialogue that's important? You'd have to define musical. I would say, would you say, okay, you'd say singing
Hollywood.
I hate Grease. I won't watch Blues again. But I did, for whatever reason, I did like Repo the Genetic Opera a lot.
Yeah, that was cool.
That one, but that one was very visual to me. I was like, this is insane. But Hairspray, shit like that.
Yeah, so those have songs that are part of a narrative that you need to follow. In later Bollywood movies, there's going to be music and dancing, but it's more like they go to a nightclub, so then there's a dance and a music.
So kind of like Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. There's a big.
That is exactly right.
Okay.
It's like
then I'm fine with something like that then.
Right. It's not like you're like, oh crap, like something cool,
It's not High School Musical or some dumb
right.
Shit
it's not
like
the way
that.
you think it is or whatever.
All right.
I don't even know what to start with. I like Doom 2 a lot. I thought Doom 3 was pretty damn good. We could have seen Pathan in the theater. And I would have gone again for that one. It was really the action, but where they're at is where you guys started. They're now getting to 80s and 90s where every character is epic. It's the villains are not just villains. They destroy everything. It's like this guy's like, I'm going to murder everybody that you love and and then laugh about it. And it's like, you're like, why? Because I was screwed. And then he's got this backstory where it's like, he did all this, and now he's like, well, now I'm this evil guy. You're like, oh my God. Like, it's so amped up that you can't help but get into it. If you see it in the theater, it's really good because they cheer. Like when I saw Patton in the theater, there's another character from another series who appeared in it as like a team up. Fucking theaters like erupting, like, yeah. And then everything is slow motion, big epic poses. There's a train. They're doing Seagal stuff. They're running. The train is falling off the tracks. And they're running above it, jumping to the next one while it's falling down. You're like, this is insane. At the end, there's a guy who has a jetpack like Rocketeer. There's guys with jetpacks flying around, shooting each other in the air, and you're like, this is insane. And it's like,
okay, I'll try it.
They're insane. Okay, ask me or Sean. Sean's on that group chat. Sean has seen ones that I haven't seen, and I've seen ones that Sean hasn't seen. So ask us the ones, and I'll tell you which ones are kind of cool or whatever to watch.
Okay.
See, there's a couple of like genres which I've never really seen. It's not been like a deliberate thing. I just haven't. There's enough like Western movies that I haven't seen that I've been trying to get through, and I try to watch international movies too. You know what I mean? But like, there's a whole bunch of like anime movies I'd like to see. Like, there's apparently some cool anime movies from the 80s, but I've never been like interested in anime.
I've got all the ones you're probably thinking. Akira maybe is one.
I watched Akira, and it was cool, like visually compared to when it was made, but that movie's fucked up, and it was like almost impossible to follow. That ending, I'm just like, what the hell is going on, and what's wrong with these people? Like,
yeah, I did a paper on that one in university. I've seen Akira like 100 times. I had it on VHS. I was there, like I was watching all of that stuff when Disney was around. So when people were like, "Oh man, I thought Lion King was so cool," I was like, "Yeah, it's okay." And they're like, "What? You don't think that's the best animated movie ever?" I'm like, "I wouldn't even."
No, Aladdin's better. Aladdin was always better than the Lion King.
Yeah, but but they would say Aladdin is better, and that would be their top 10, right? But like, I'm like, I wouldn't put any Disney animated movie in my top like 300. Like,
Akira's animation was
it's mind-boggling.
It's mind-boggling, and that's the only reason you watch it. I highly recommend to watch that one. Storyline though, Charlie's sitting there going, "What the fuck am I watching right now?"
It's very, because there's a lot of metaphors and a lot of, it's just like, also Japan, the way they do it, it's
very odd.
It's a bummer. I get.
It kind of is, but I say this on the show all the time when we talk about anime. Really, the only one I ever watched and I really got into was Vampire Hunter D. That was really
great.
like,
I have that on VHS. The VHS tape for that is back here. I was just going through my VHS animes and Vampire Hunter D, baby.
I rented it as a kid because my dad's like, "Oh, it's a cartoon," and he got into it.
And you're like, "Whoa, what the hell's that? What did I just rent?"
Dad got into it. He's like, "This is really cool." I'm like, "Yeah, what is this? This is awesome."
Oh my God. I love that you're a kid. You ran to this random and you're like, what the hell's going on? And I mean, but that's what I'm saying. When you start getting into this, it changes your life. You're like, okay, F all cartoons. It's like all these cartoons are trash. Like when you start getting into the heavy ones like that, you watch Akira and there's nudity and they're beating up that girl. You're like, what the hell's going on here? There's
all kinds of shit going on.
The gangs are ass wipes, man. They're like trying to kill that guy. You're like, well, screw these people. They run over his, like they motorcycle over him and everything. Like, holy shit.
But Owen, just so you get kind of an idea, there's a scene where he's on the motorcycle and he goes through like this, like, I don't know if it was a building or a plate of glass. They animated every single shard of glass as it falls. So it's
I have seen Akira. I've seen it years ago. Though,
I mean, that was just to me like just the thought process of how they got that done, animated style. No CG, no computer, copy paste. No, draw. I'm like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
All right, we'll wrap it up there because I'm tired.
I was gonna say, from Silent Night to anime, that's a big jump we did tonight.
Yeah, boys. Exactly. Yeah. So next week we're going to talk the Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis and David Wayans, which I'm really looking forward to, and Halle Berry.
Halle Berry.
Yep. So that's a good one. And then the week after we'll go over the best movies of the year and the worst of the year in action. And we'll also talk about some of our anticipated movies as well. So I have to give a shout out to Lee Golden over at Film Combat Syndicate, who's done probably one of the best articles I've ever seen. And I'm really jealous that he did it and I didn't, but I just haven't had the time. Where he did like was like 124 anticipated movies of 2024, and it this huge piece of like all these action movies coming out next year. So definitely,
is that many movies coming out? Holy shit!
Yeah, I was like, wow, I thought there was like 5 or something. But
right,
I mean,
that's all I thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when I'm going to be back. The next thing I'll see in the cinema will be Beekeeper. I think in January when I get back from my holiday.
When does it come out? Is it like February?
January 12th.
January. Oh, it's an early one. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely there for that. All right, for you, Bucky, I'm going to watch RRR at some point then, because I meant to review it, and then when somebody brought that up the other day, I was like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that, because I canceled my Netflix because I kept raising the prices, and I was like, I don't watch this enough to keep paying these prices.
We dropped it down to commercials, and now we're locked out of certain movies. Like if a brand new, like Spider-Man Into the Multiverse, the second one come out or whatever it's called, we're locked out of it because
lucky you. Unfortunately, I watched the entire thing.
We're on. Because I was like, we're on the lowest tier, so we get commercials. I don't give a shit. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, but now I'm locked out. They shouldn't
lock movies out. That's
what I was like. Why are you locking movies out?
That's very bullshit.
I'm about this close from canceling Netflix. I got Tubi, boys. That's all you really need.
Yeah, that's the best one. That's where it's got all the best like Z-grade action movies from the 80s and 90s. Like,
Tubi is awesome, though. I will say Tubi is awesome. But I gotta keep it for One Piece, man. One Piece was great, so I gotta.
I still gotta watch that. See, there's so much, but you guys who know me, you know the personal shit I've had to deal with this year, so I haven't had time to watch that much. So, and I've got other stuff going on, which I'll tell you about once we're off. But anyway, we'll finish up, anyway, wind it up, and we'll be back next week to talk The Last Boy Scout, I think. So if you are watching, do remember that you are the action lead.